What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Overboy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2003 movie Hulk. So this is part of my Marvel Mondays, and this movie is directed by Ang Lee, and in this movie, Bruce Banner, played by Eric Bana in this version, is exposed to gamma radiation in a lab accident, and transforms him into the Hulk, this big green monster. And whenever he's stressed or angry, and he's having to face off against the U.S. military led by Thunderbolt Ross, the father of his girlfriend Betty, and also having to clash with his father, who has a link to his past and the reason why he becomes the Hulk, and everything. But he has a lot of repressed memories from when he was a kid that he doesn't really remember everything that happened to him as a kid that leads into him becoming the Hulk. And a lot of the movie is exploring that, and him trying to figure out what's going on with him and everything. There's not a lot of action in this movie, and I know that's a big negative for a lot of people, but for me, it doesn't bother me. Just like I've said with many other superhero movies, ones where the story takes front and center more than the action don't really bother me. That's one of the reasons I love Endgame so much, is there's so many great moments, just the characters discussing their plans and stuff, that to me makes the movie worth watching in its own and everything. Like, you get the action, and this movie doesn't pay off in the action part though, like Avengers Endgame did when we finally did get to the action scenes, but this one still is a lot of fun. I think the cast in here are all really excellent, especially Eric Bana. He's one of my favorite versions of the Hulk. I wouldn't say that he's as good as Mark Ruffalo in the MCU, because I personally love him as Bruce Banner and Hulk, but I think that he is way better than Edward Norton as a character. And seeing that he didn't enjoy making this movie, I thought Eric Bana did a really good job, and he's always been one of those actors I think that's kind of underrated. He's never really gotten the credit he deserves, and I love him in this movie. He really is good as a character. I think Sam Elliott was pretty good as Thunderbolt Ross. I think I like William Hurt as the character a little bit more though from the MCU, but I did like Sam Elliott a lot though. I thought he was really good in this, and he's one of those actors that everything I've seen him in, I've always liked him in, and everything. He has a likable personality, and he's kind of a jerk in this movie, which is kind of off for Sam Elliott for me, but I liked him enough in here. And Betty Ross I think is really good. She's played by Jennifer Connelly, who does a pretty good job, although she doesn't have a lot to do in this movie. I wish it could have done more with her, but I think for what it is, she's fine as a character. She fits Betty Ross fine and everything. And Nick Nolte plays David Banner, the father of Bruce Banner, and he's pretty good too. He's really weird and everything, but Nick Nolte just does a really great job playing this really weird character, and he really does a good job in this movie. So I think all of the cast are great in here, and this movie has a really great score by Danny Elfman. It's not on the same level as his scores for Batman or Spider-Man, but he did a really great job with the music in this movie and everything, especially during some of the action scenes. And that opening theme, just like with the Spider-Man music, is just really good. I think they did a good job with that, and it has some good music in here and everything. But there are some problems with this movie. The pacing is kind of off, even though I like that it's more of a slow burn movie, and it's not action every 5 seconds like they could have made it. It does kind of feel really slow at times, and it's a little overlong. They could have cut it down probably 30 or 40 minutes, and it wouldn't have run the movie too much. But at the same time, I also kind of like the way they did this movie. Like I said, it's a mixed bag on the pacing, but it could have been a little bit shorter. And the visual effects don't hold up very well. They looked pretty bad back in 2003 when it first came out, but they really don't hold up now, and that's one of the big things I hear people complain about a lot. And I can agree, they don't hold up very well. They never really did look that great. The CGI on the Hulk dogs especially were really bad, and then at the stuff with David Banner and stuff at the end, he looks really terrible. And there's parts where the Hulk looks pretty decent, but there's also a lot of parts, especially like when he's running and jumping around in the desert and stuff, he just looks really bad. And he looks like he came out of a PS2 game throughout most of it, to be honest. It doesn't hold up very well. Or like, at least the Spider-Man movies, the CGI on them hold up pretty decently. This one, it's definitely doesn't hold up at all. It looks pretty bad, but I love the directing though. Ang Lee is one of my favorite directors. He did Sense and Sensibility, The Ice Storm, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Brokeback Mountain, and many other movies that I've always really loved. And I loved his work on this, and I love how like the editing and stuff on this movie makes it look like a comic book. Like they have like little different screens on there and everything, like to make it look like comic book panels and stuff. I thought that was really awesome. That's one of the things that I love about the movies. It is a really good, stylish comic book movie. It's something that doesn't really get credit, because like I said, most people just act like this movie doesn't exist, partly because the pacing and not being action-packed like a lot of Marvel movies are expected to be, and because it's not part of the MCU, people just don't care about it. Because you have to be part of the MCU to be considered a good comic book movie nowadays. Unless you're a crappy Venom movie, then you can be considered good too. But yeah, this movie I think is underrated. I'll admit though, when I saw it the first time, I was very disappointed, and I was hoping for a lot more Hulk action and everything. The year it came out, I was like really into it, really interested, because I loved Spider-Man and X-Men, and it was when I was really starting to get interested in superhero movies. I didn't see Daredevil till after this movie came out, but I was really looking forward to this one, and my grandma took me to see it. It was the last movie she took me to see in the theater before she passed away a few months later, but and she really enjoyed the movie, and I was very disappointed. But every time I rewatch this movie, I like it a little bit more, especially now that I'm older and I can kind of follow the story a lot more. I didn't really, back when it first came out, I didn't fully understand everything they were talking about in it with the gamma radiation and all that. I just wanted to see the Hulk fighting people, and that's not really what we got in that movie. So back then I didn't really enjoy it, but now rewatching it and stuff, I like it even more, and I love like how they put the story first and over the action, which is something that you do get a lot in superhero movies nowadays, but also but there's like a lot of other types of movies that they focus on the action more, like the crappy Venom sequel, like they put the style over the story. In this one, they put the story over the style, but it also had a unique style to it, if that makes sense. And it's pretty entertaining. Like I said, it could be better. There are better superhero movies out there, and everything, even from that era. Like I personally prefer the earlier X-Men movies, like X-Men 1 and 2, and the Spider-Man movies and stuff. But I do enjoy this one. I think it's pretty underrated. It doesn't deserve the hate that it gets, and it's a fun enough time. A slow movie, yes, but still entertaining, and I really enjoy it, and don't think it deserves the hate it gets. So I'd say I'd give Hulk a 8 out of 10. It's really entertaining, and it's a fun movie. There are way worse movies out there, like I said, as far as superhero movies go, this is definitely not one of the worst ones like a lot of people claim it to be. It's miles better than the Venom movies or Man-Thing, or no, I even like it more than the Ghost Rider movies, to be honest. I think this is a pretty good one that holds up really well for the most part, except for in the visual effects department. That part, I can't deny it. They don't hold up. They didn't look good back then, and they don't look good now. But all in all, I think this is a fine movie. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of Hulk from 2003. And did you love this movie as a kid, or were you like me when it first came out, didn't like it, and like it more now that you're older? Let me know, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.
Hee